vimeweza kupata hiyo nafasi. Kitu ambacho mimi nataka kusema ni kwamba sijaona lile shirika la wafanyikazi ama shirika la public service limeingia hapa, na hilo ndio tashwishi ya kwamba shirika hilo la Public Service Commission pengine lisingefaa kuwa hapa. Hiyo nambari, ningependa pia kukubaliana na kiongozi walio wengi, ni kwamba hiyo nambari ya Public Service Commission ama shirika la wafanyikazi wa umma ingeweza kupewa wabunge, ama ingeweza kupewa ingeweza kupelekwa katika vile vyama, hiyo nambari ikaongezeka hapo. Kwa hiyo sioni kwamba pengine kuna shida sana, lakini sioni sababu ya kwamba hilo shirika la umma liweko katika hiyo hesabu. Pili, nataka kukumbusha ya kwamba tunaelewa ya kwamba katika hali ya uchaguzi ndani ya nchi yetu ya Kenya kuna kuwa na shida kubwa sana wakati sisi tukiwa tunafanya uchaguzi. Watu huweza kuwa na ukabila, watu huweza kuwa na kutengana kwa sababu ya kura. Lakini sisi tunasema ikiwa watu wa dini wanaweza kupewa nafasi hizo, na pia vile vile hawa watu wa dini wakaweza kupewa nafasi ya kuchagua mume mmoja na mke mmoja, litakuwa jukumu lao kuweza kuleta hawa watu katika hii jopo la wale ambao wataweza kuchagua makamishna. Bwana Spika, ya mwisho nikitaka kusema ya kwamba ni kwamba ni lazima tuzingatie, Bwana Spika, ni lazima tuzingatie uhuru wa IEBC, kwa sababu mara nyingi tunaona ya kwamba IEBC inaweza kuingiliwa ama inaweza pia ikaweza kuwa na upotevu fulani ambao wanaweza kama vile alivyokuwa akiongea huyu Chebukati, ni kwamba aliweza kutendewa vitu muhimu sana kuona ya kwamba shirika ambalo linasimamia uchaguzi ndani ya nchi yetu liweze kuwa huru sana, lisiwe huru kidogo ya kwamba wanaweza kuingiliwa ama wanaweza kuambiwa kitu fulani, lakini liwe linaweza kuwa huru zaidi. Kwa hiyo mimi katika maoni yangu, Bwana Spika, ninaona ya kwamba hii ndio njia ya kwenda, na mimi naunga mkono hii hoja. Asante sana.
The Honorable Danson Mungatana.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also make my contribution in this very important debate. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to bring a new perspective and a new thinking that goes into electioneering comes because people don't trust the process. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to congratulate the majority leader and those behind him in the team for starting the look at the electoral laws at an early stage so that we can develop trust before actual electioneering takes place. And I'm very happy to hear, even from the side of opposition, our colleagues on this side saying they are comfortable because they have been given an opportunity to participate from the very beginning in the selection of the commissioners who are going to manage our elections. Mr. Speaker, we should support this in a bipartisan manner. And I will pray that Majority Leader will go back and look at the rest of the electoral laws that we need to look at, Mr. Speaker. Particularly, if we can fix the computer, the transmission, and all these things that surround it is concerned, particularly use of electronic system, if it can be perfected, Mr. Speaker, then all these processes don't become an issue. Mr. Speaker, I'm even urging that we should not only do it with the IEBC, but we should go further to look at our own political parties. If we can make our systems to be electronic, therefore removing the human interference bit of it, and our political parties are good, they have proper electronic system to manage their nominations, and quickly agree on the selection panel if we are happy with the integrity of the system that will manage the election. We can easily agree on who the commissioners are if the system is devoid of human interference. And Mr. Speaker, my urge this morning, motto, invite the IEBC. Let us get all these laws in place, particularly the laws that say, let us protect the integrity of the electronic voting system. So that, Mr. Speaker, if everybody is happy, then even when you lose your election, you will not have a problem. Mr. Speaker, I support this bill and this amendment. Thank you.
The Honorable Senator Sifuna Edwin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. From the onset, let me say that I hold a very different view on the matter that is before the House this morning. Mr. Speaker, I mean who the stakeholders in any institution are, either affect or be affected by the business of that institution. Mr. Speaker, there are many stakeholders in the political process. Of course, every single citizen has an interest in the operations of the IEBC and in the elections and politics of this country. But you have to identify the primary stakeholders and the secondary stakeholders. I would be urging this House to consider that, in fact, when it comes to the business of the IEBC, the primary stakeholders are the political actors, and especially those represented through their various political parties. I will give an example, Mr. Speaker. There were certain controversies at the onset of Christianity that needed to be settled. For instance, the divinity of Christ, whether Christ is divine or whether he is to be made, or even the criteria to be used in settling the Gospels, which books were going to go into what is known today as the Bible, Mr. Speaker. There was convened something called the Council of Nicaea. This Council of Nicaea, Mr. Speaker, was fully composed of bishops and leaders in the Christian faith to settle these controversies. Leadership of, say, Rugby Kenya is decided or selected by the rugby teams that are part of the league. What I'm trying to say, Mr. Speaker, is that for us as political players, and especially the political parties, I would be very, very hesitant to limit the number of slots that are allocated to the political players in this particular bill. Mr. Speaker, my biggest concern, I know the majority leader raised concern about the question of LSK. Many of these institutions interact with the law in their daily operations. My colleagues who are with us in the Mwangaza Impeachment Committee, Service Commission, it is a chair, vice chair. Mr. Speaker, if there is a partisan organization that only serves, which is also representative of the political parties in this country that have the majority representation and the minority representation to get a slot each. These things we are not doing because I am in ODM today, Mr. Speaker. There is no problem with me looking for a seat on possible, Mr. Speaker, that we can set an objective criteria that will affect or bring about some level of balance in the manner in which these panels are constituted. So that even if the Senator Thangwa from Kiambu, and we're having discussions with him, is convinced to join ODM and run on ODM in 2027, he will still find a representative of ODM on that selection panel. And even if I were to cross over, Mr. Speaker, I have biases, whether you acknowledge them or don't. Mr. Speaker, my party leader likes to say, even the Pope, when given a...
I'm afraid, Senator, your time is up. Senator Gathuri.
I did support the report as it is, the motion which was presented by the majority leader. And Mr. Speaker, looking at the numbers, because what we need really is to get the IBC issue straight from the one go. I would be very happy if we really the general elections for attrition, because as the Senator of Nairobi has said, this is not about the parties which participated in the 2022 elections. So that as we are saying, we want to move together the two houses, we can start showing that immigrations they have given the slots to various prayers, especially diversity in our religious organizations. And also there is the Parliamentary Service Commission. I'm happy that they are specifying that one nominee should come from the minority side and another one from the majority side. That is being fair. Last time we had 4, and there was no specification on how those 4 could be shared. So I think the report from the National Assembly, I think is a bit fair. And also when you look also at the political parties council, those are small parties, let us say majority and minority in that did not engage. Last time, Jubilee Party was the majority and it had so many members of parliament. Last elections, Jubilee Party is almost now, has almost 20 members. So you don't know which party will be majority tomorrow, which will be a small party tomorrow. Because I can see that party, maybe the next elections, it might get even 5 or so members. So let us really arrange straight for posterity so that we can get this record straight. I'll be very happy even during the voting, this will be anonymous decision, which will be made by the
Mahanza Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very, very important piece of legislation. Mr. Speaker, you realize what is being amended, has been quoted, is different. It was 2 men and 2 women nominated by Parliamentary Service Commission, 1 person nominated by Law Society of Kenya, 2 persons nominated by the Interreligious Council of Kenya. And now this has been expanded and improved to what now you have as an amendment. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commission is a very, very important commission in Kenya. This is the selection panel, which if is biased from beginning, then it's likely to be biased all the way. But it has a lot of checks and balances on its path, from the selection to the matter coming again to Parliament and the proceeding back for the appointments. Mr. Speaker, when an electoral commission, for whatever reason, seems to be biased, it's likely to affect the stability of the nation. For example, recent allegations that possibly the chairman of the Electoral Commission could be assassinated, you know where the country is left if an eventuality like that was to happen in the future. First of all, it means there's no one to announce the results. And therefore, this matter, having these amendments, and our committee having improved on what the National Assembly has done, then it means the matter must now then proceed for mediation in one way or another. The whole idea is we should legislate for the future, for posterity, and for the future nation, for the future future people of Kenya, many years to come. We should not legislate for purposes of the current government, or sometimes we may make legislation thinking it is for you, only for a new person or new government to benefit in that legislation. And that has happened before. When we were trying to make the constitution, some people want to make a constitution which is tailor-made for them, only to realize it is against them the next day. And for that matter, we must be seen to be fair. And I believe all these appointments can be skewed. What we need is higher moral authority by the people who will be dealing with this, so that there's no state interference at all. There's no interference from whatever part of the people, and that the people, for example, representing the religion, then one should be a Christian and the other one a Muslim, so that you balance the religious shades of opinion in the country. And I believe when you deal with the Public Service Commission, there is something positive about, very critical, in that it represents us as the two houses. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, these amendments is before we close this particular session, so that, Mr. Speaker, we can make something good for the nation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Seki Lenku.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support to this motion. It's a very important motion that has come. The Electoral and Boundaries Commission is a very important commission that determine the future of this country, as we have really witnessed. And I want to really support this motion by saying that we need to approve. We need to support it as it is. The amendments are quite in order. And I want to support that the clause on the Public Service Commission is a very important slot that is given to Public Service Commission, so that we also get people from different diversities, people from different experiences, people from different careers, and people with a lot of experiences that who have also worked in Kenya. And I believe the slot has been distributed well, and we want to say we want to support this motion as it is, because we understand the issues that are ahead of us. We have issues of boundaries, and this is the chance that we really need to come in and have these structures well done, agreed together, so that we get people of integrity, people of, who have some accountability in this country on time, without having more political interference. And because this is the right.
Senator Catherine Muma.
Honorable Speaker, for giving me this chance. Honorable Speaker, I'm a member of JLAC, and I was part of every session that discussed these amendments, and I would like to thank our chair, who was there in every session, and the members for the robust debate that we had on this motion. I've had problems with nearly every, except for the one that was picked after the selection by the IPPG. Mr. Speaker, the appointment of commissioners of IEBC is political, even though the Constitution puts it is supposed to be people who are neutral. And the selection panel needs to be able to balance the political interests of all political players in the country in order for there to be peace. Mr. Speaker, if from the word go the selection panel will be seen to be politically leaning on one side and not on the other, we are going to have a problem. Whoever they bring, even if they have integrity, will not be seen to have integrity. So I would want to urge members of this House to take this job seriously and not to hurry just because we need to put this selection committee in place and end up with a committee players. We were given